Hey guys, welcome back to Young and Unscripted. Today we'll be diving into your dilemmas as usual. I remember last video I said that I wanted to start the video by saying something that I've learned. What have I learned this week? This week I feel like I've really learned to be kinder to myself. I think it is important to push yourself, but also sometimes I'm like, I probably could be a bit kinder to myself. And this week I feel like I have been. I feel better. I feel more rejuvenated. And I just feel like I've given myself more time to rest and fill up on life, which is really important, and be present as well. I felt very present this week. Also, the weather has helped. The sunny weather, honestly, I just sit outside, start my day, and eat my breakfast outside. And honestly, it's such a simple pleasure, I think, because just makes you think, actually, I'm happy and I'm present in this moment. So yeah, I think the main things are being kinder to yourself and staying present. Let's dive right into the dilemmas. I want to become her, but I don't know where to start. I see girls who just seem so put together, confident, calm, disciplined, and sure of themselves. Not even in a flashy way, just how they carry themselves. I really want to become that version of myself, but I don't know where to start. Do I change my habits, my mindset, my environment? It feels overwhelming because I don't actually know what makes someone her versus just looking like it on the outside. Okay, that's interesting. I think there's such a trend going around of like becoming her. And to me, becoming her is really becoming the best version of yourself. Becoming her is not becoming another person who might be your idol. It's like becoming the best version of you and what that looks like to you and what that feels like to you. And I think it's someone who is very confident and self assured. So a lot of that does come from the inside. Internal confidence is something that is always growing and it's not easy. For some reason, we seem to be so good at doubting ourselves. I think all of us are so guilty of that. But I do feel like things like how you start your day and just taking moments at the beginning of your day to just like breathe and like not be on your phone and not be overly consuming. Things like that really help me to just like feel a bit more at peace. And a person who is at peace and has that inner sense of calm is really, really powerful. And I think that's a great place to be in. Where sometimes when we're just, so like we're on our phones and we're over consuming, I feel like that can actually deteriorate our confidence. So I think even though we're busy, it is good to just take those moments to calm down, be present, and just breathe or meditate or do whatever you feel like calms you down. Some people might think, why does that even correlate to confidence? But for me personally, feeling peaceful really does help me to be more self assured and you're not so much consumed by everyone else. I also think practicing the way you talk about yourself and the way you talk to yourself. Sometimes our minds can be so harsh, but I think when you catch negative thought patterns, it's important to start noticing them because once you notice them, you do have more control of them. And then if you start to like talk out loud or about yourself and say, I'm going to do this, I'm confident, even just saying those things every day, they really can help you. Sometimes we do feel like the worst person in the world, and we're definitely not. So, understanding that your thoughts are not reality is a real powerful thing, and that can kind of guide you on your journey into becoming her. Also, I think you should spend time getting to know yourself. Sometimes we always need to be around other people, which is so beautiful. Humans are very social creatures. But when I started spending time with myself, I really got to know myself and then feel more confident in myself. So get to know what you like and get used to going out by yourself and things like that, because then you do build that confidence and that resilience and you're less affected by outside opinions of you. Spending time with yourself, practicing talking to yourself in a more positive way, taking care of yourself, doing things that you love, spending time with people you love and being surrounded by the right people. Because you did say, um, do I change my habits, mindset, and environment? You have to see what's affecting you the most. In terms of environment, sometimes we can't change our environment straight away, depending on what situation you're in. If you can, then definitely do that. But you can change your environment in little ways in terms of checking who you're around and seeing if they align with the type of person you want to become and if they're very supportive and friendly and if they're affecting you in a positive way. Then if they are, great, keep them around. And if they're not, just realizing that and seeing who you maybe do need to distance yourself from. And then your mindset is going to be a huge one as well. And just try and train yourself into thinking more positively. just little by little, and saying, okay, today is a new day. Great things are going to happen to me today. Wonderful things are going to happen to me today. And changing your habits, yeah, I think all of these things, changing your habits, mindset, and environment, can really change who you are. And it sometimes it just happens so gradually that you don't even notice it. And then you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm really not that person that I was. And I've really grown. Habits and showing up for yourself are really important. You become more confident in yourself when you show up for yourself and you do the things you said you were going to do. So if you make a vow to yourself and say, okay, I really want to do this thing today, I want to start this new hobby, and you actually do it, it makes you feel good about yourself because you feel confident in knowing that you've actually done what you said you were going to do. When we constantly promise ourselves things and we don't do it, that's sometimes where we can also feel quite a lack of confidence in ourselves and thinking, oh, I'm not going to do it. And we can get these feelings of worthlessness. So I think really just try and start small. That's what I always say, because I think when you overload yourself, it can be quite intense. So just start small, build up those habits. They'll start to gradually change who you are. And before you know it, you will start to become more confident. And I think even things that feel so triggering and times where your confidence are tested are actually going to be the most important moments. I've definitely grown in confidence compared to a few years ago. But obviously, you have days where you don't feel confident, and that's where you have to show up for yourself the most and push through those times. That are probably always going to happen. I don't know, maybe some people have cracked the code and they always feel confident, but for me anyway, those days do appear, but just is how we bounce back from them. And even those testing moments, they're important because it's like, okay, how would I have reacted in the past to this? I may have really got so down about myself and felt down for days. And now, okay, let the emotion out. What's making me feel a lack of confidence? What happened? Process it. Once you've let it out, move on. Those tests are actually going to make you really grow in confidence, because I think when you realize, okay, I would have probably spent days thinking about this, thinking, talking down on myself, reacting like that in the past, and now it just probably took me an hour to just feel it and move on. It makes you also feel good about yourself. You're like, oh, I'm stronger. I feel more confident. Finding your authenticity and who you are is a big one. Once you get a good sense of self and who you are, you tend to not rely on having to be like other people. We all take inspiration, and I love taking inspiration. We all are drawn to people who inspire us, but also finding out who you are is going to be the most powerful state to be in. On to the next dilemma. This is following on from the last dilemma, really. I feel like I've changed so much mentally over the past year. I'm more confident, more self aware, and I want different things out of life now. But my actual reality hasn't changed much. Same environment, same routines, same people. It's like internally I'm evolving, but externally everything feels the same. It's frustrating because I know I'm not who I used to be, but I'm not fully living as who I'm becoming either. Oh, I've definitely felt like this. When you feel like, okay, I feel like I've changed so much, I've grown so much, but why have things in my life not shifted? Like I'm more positive, I feel, more confident, all of these things, but my reality hasn't changed. So what's going on? You need to start with appreciating how far you've come and how much you have grown and how that's an incredible thing. I think first of all, sometimes we need to become that person and really mentally change and do all the things that you said you've done and you've grown, and then it will come, because I think who you are and how you carry yourself is the most important thing. The fact that you've changed so much and grown so much, those things are definitely going to come, because you sound like the person who is ready to receive your blessings. So they are coming, but don't panic. We should never fear about when they're going to show up, because they will. So just trust that they are and continue evolving and growing, because only good things can come from that. All these things that you're saying, they're definitely only going to put positive things into your life. They're never going to affect you negatively. These are really positive achievements that you've made, and the rest will follow. Because we're in such that age of instant gratification, I am so guilty of this. We can be like, okay, I feel great. I'm putting positive things out there, but where are the results? Where are the results? And we can stress, but there's genuinely no need. But I also think that's because we are waiting for that instant gratification and we want that, okay, I've done this. Now, where's the result? Sometimes life doesn't work like that. I mean, sometimes it does. Who knows? But just trust that everything is coming at the right time in your life. So if it's not here yet, there's a reason for that, and it's going to show up at the right time. And how many times have you looked back at your life and thought, wow, that didn't happen then because da da da, and it all makes sense, and you're like, right, that's why. So all of these things that are going to happen and all the great things that you're trying to achieve, they're literally on the way, and you're becoming the person who is ready to step through those doors. So just continue on that journey, and only positive things will come. I think when you act from desperation, sometimes things don't always work out. When you're in a place of trust and peace, things will work out better for you. For example, there's things that I've said I wanted to achieve this year. Maybe I haven't achieved them yet, but I'm still working on those same habits, doing the things that will contribute towards those goals happening. So I'm just going to continue evolving and growing and doing those things that are benefiting me. And I'm sure all the results will follow, but I can't focus on the result, just focus on the journey and just keep doing what you're doing. On to the next dilemma. The advice that stuck too much. Someone gave me feedback on my work that was actually helpful, but one part of it stuck with me. They said I have presence, but not yet consistency. Now I can't stop thinking about it every time I create something. I don't know if it's motivating me or holding me back. Feedback can be really important to help us grow, but there is a point where sometimes if we lean into it too much, it can hinder us. That's why people always say take things with a pinch of salt. Obviously, we need to listen to people because sometimes people have really valuable feedback that can help us grow. And even if it's hard to hear, it's something that's actually going to propel us and help us improve in future. For instance, if I heard something about my acting in an area that I could improve, first of all, it might, hit the ego a little bit and you think, oh no, I didn't do great. But really, that's going to benefit me in the future. You've got to remember, people are watching you, they're going to give their feedback and they're not going to think about it again. So it's more just like notes you can improve on that you can kind of take what you want from. Obviously, if there's something that you keep getting, maybe it is an area that you really do need to work on. But if somebody just said this once, also saying presence but not yet consistency, I think consistency just comes over the time, the more you practice it, and having presence is probably the main thing. So consistency is just going to come the more you practice. Don't hold on to it too much. Sometimes I think we value other people's opinions so much, and then we diminish anything that we ever thought we knew about it. It's like we can still know things and we're acquiring knowledge and we have our own skill set. Obviously, there's areas that we can improve on, but we can't let comments throw us because they're meant to really help us grow. So if they start doing the opposite and now you think, okay, I don't want to perform, I don't want to show myself, I don't want to, that's not very constructive. Just take the feedback, listen to it, take it on, but please don't let it hinder you. I also think sometimes we think we need to be at our best right now. That's one thing that I've had to learn. Sometimes when I don't do my best, I think, oh my gosh, this is awful. Like that means I'm this. And I come to conclusions when really it's like, no, I'm growing and I'm practicing. Just because I wasn't great at this thing today doesn't mean I can't later in life be exceptional at that. Or once I've practiced it, really grow and that becomes one of my strengths. Give yourself time to grow into these strengths and grow into that area of expertise. That's why sometimes we look up to the biggest people in our industries. For example, as an actress, we look up to Viola Davis and we think, wow, she is incredible. But she has also, obviously, she has the raw talent, but she is also so experienced. And I can't compare myself to that. All I can do is grow as an individual and be inspired by these performances. We have to practice things to grow in them and we have to fail to get better. Failure actually helps you grow and it's something that we hear so much. And I think we take it and we're like, "Oh yeah," but then when we fail, we're like, "No, I'm a failure. That's it." Actually, those moments are going to strengthen us. A bit like what I was saying earlier, the moments in which you get knocked down and you get back up are really significant moments in your journey of growing as a person, as an artist, as a creative. So I think with the feedback, what you should do is you should always regulate it. Okay, have I taken that on as a thing that's going to help me grow? But if it's getting to the point when you're fixating on it so much that it's actually doing the opposite and it's actually stunting your growth and it's making you kind of close in on yourself, then really do just detach from it and just honestly forget about that piece of advice for now. Strip it back to the basics and just keep practicing and doing what you love and experimenting and going back to why you love it. Because naturally, the more that you're loving it and you're wanting to practice and you're wanting to get better and you're just enjoying that journey, you will improve because you're doing it more. And the more you do something, you do become better at it. So, yeah, that is my advice on that. Take this advice with a pinch of salt, as I said about the other advice, but that's what I think I do. Sometimes we can feel like feedback is an attack on us and who we are and our talent, but it's really not. So, that is just the human ego coming into play, and don't let your ego ever stop you from growing. That's my advice on that. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Young and Unscripted. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.